friends, it's Kendra. Welcome back for another video. I put the reminder early this time. Okay, please take a second before we get going to like the video. It helps me beat the algorithm. Share it if you feel like it's worth sharing. Subscribe if you don't hate me, all that stuff. Thank you. Okay, so hi friends. I'm Kendra simsomally. I need to decide. But welcome to my video. It's cool if you meet my voiceover, especially because I ramble a whole lot, so I won't judge you. Just go ahead and do it if you want. And then there are timestamps down the description with pieces parts so you can skip ahead, including when I stop talking. So with that, I think let's get into the video. I named this build Brooke. I named it Brooke. I asked the other day on Instagram, for people to guess what my next build was called. And someone guessed Brooke something. Gosh, it was such a cute name. I can't remember. Anyway, so Brooke stuck with me, and this house is like a little bit rustic. And I just kind of felt like, Brooke was like a cute, sweet name, but it was also kind of, it's a nature thing. So I thought that was nice. That's how we ended up with Brooke. The inspiration for this build, I really wanted to do like the Northwest style, but those builds always end up so huge and just like big houses. So I wanted to do that style, but in a starter. Because, maybe you don't want to pay $100K for a house, or you don't want to have 15 bedrooms. So this home, I think it ended up adorable. I really love it. It has 3 bedrooms and only 1 bathroom. I sort of made it an awkward floor plan, but I don't know. I think it's fine for a starter. Sometimes you don't get your own bathroom. And the master does have a door to the bathroom. It's just that you have to go, the bathroom also has a door to not the master. You know what I mean? I think you know what I mean. I don't know. Anyway, so I think that's nice. I think, I lived in an apartment that was kind of like that once, and it still felt like I had a master bathroom because I could still walk naked between my bedroom and the bathroom. You know what I mean? Yikes. Okay, we're off to a great start. Anyway, yeah. So I actually think this build turned out really adorable, and it was definitely interesting trying to do this style without loading it up with tons of windows, because I feel like that's usually what I do when I'm trying to do this style. I just go with lots of windows because they want the outdoor views and everything, but windows are really expensive, so I couldn't do that because I still wanted to have money to, money to furnish it and make it a starter. So you'll notice kind of throughout, especially later in the build when I'm furnishing, that there are a couple times I deleted stuff, and that's because I checked the price and realized I could not afford to do, all that stuff. Sometimes I get carried away, and then I'm like $2,000 over budget, and I'm like, oh, whoops. So that definitely happened in this build. Anyway. I did initially want to do some cool landscaping with this one, but it just kind of, I think with the being on such a tiny lot, it just didn't quite work out that way. But I think the build still, I think maybe all the landscaping might have been overkill, if you know what I mean. So I think it turned out really cute. I really love these get-together supports, and I wish that, I suppose one of these days I should do another base game one where I make them with T.O.O.L. It's just such a hassle, and I'm lazy. But yeah, so the other problem that I did not think about is that these roof supports cost money. They're only $200 maybe, but when you're doing a starter, every cent counts, or matters, or whatever. So that was sort of interesting. I did a couple things in this build that made me need to be a little bit more creative and stingy. So yeah, it was interesting. Anyway, so I've really been loving this kind of greenish teal, dusty green, I don't know what you'd call it, color for the trim. I think it's really lovely. It's kind of got a little bit of color, but it's muted, so I think it goes really well with natural tones, but it still brings a little bit to it, so it's not just brown. There are so many simmers. This is a total side note, but there are so many simmers that I watch that just do brown tones, and it always looks beautiful, like Scylla's YT. She does like brown tones a lot, and it's so beautiful. I love watching them. When I try to do it, I think it just looks like dirt or poo. So I don't know. I need to learn her ways because, yeah, I don't know. Every time I do just a plain brown house, I feel like it looks kind of myrrh. So anyway, and since this house was like a light color and then I did the light wood, I'm really glad we had that kind of greenish roof trim to sort of offset it a little bit. But yeah, I actually started a build sort of like this, and I abandoned it because I accidentally made it huge. I was trying to do one of those houses where, you know, like the garage is sort of underneath the house, like a whole level below, if that makes sense. And then we're kind of, oop, sorry, someone in the neighborhood just closed a door. He's probably going to keep barking. I apologize. But I don't want to re-record it because I'm lazy. Good boy, Coop, you're okay. Yeah. Well, my dogs are being so cute today. They're super cuddly and, oop, the little one just fell off a chair. I used to Sims on the couch, but it was hurting my back when I started simming more, so I moved it to the dining room table. And the dogs are always trying to climb on my lap and being super annoying, so I dragged like one of the living room chairs over next to my seat at the table. And now they just sit in the chair all day, and it's so cute. Oh, I love it. The little one, she just like always needs to be cuddling, and even when she's not cuddling, she like stretches out her foot so that she's touching my leg. It warms my heart. Anyway, oh yeah, that other build. So it ended up being big because like the garage is basically its own level, and then I built everything else on top of that, and it just kind of made it so that it was huge. It was a huge house, but I'd wanted to make it a starter, and I realized like there is no flipping way I'm gonna be able to do that. So that build is coming. I will be finishing it at some point, but this build needed to be small, and that was not small. So keep an eye out for that one. I think it's gonna be really cool. Someone on Facebook the other day mentioned looking for a house that was that style, and I was like, you know, I should make one. So I'm gonna make one. It's my goal. Because like, I don't know, I have a hard time with one-story houses. It's another thing that so many people make well, but I just feel like they look funky. So yeah, it like needed to be one story to not be huge, but then I'm me, so I couldn't handle making it one story, so then I made it 2 stories, and then it's a 3-story house that's gargantuan. So I need to rein it in. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Anyway, this build. That's why you're here, is this build. So these kids' bedrooms are super awkward, and I realize that. But I didn't want to make it 1 bedroom because then it'd be like bigger than the downstairs master. You know what I mean? I don't know. I sort of struggled with it. You guys will have to let me know what you would have done with this floor plan because it's pretty awkward. I can acknowledge that. Super awkward. So let me know what you think could have been different. I sort of just went with it, but it turned out a little interesting. You know, it's definitely a kind of kooky floor plan. But yeah, anyway. I love putting fireplaces in builds, and I really love this fireplace. I think it's actually maybe my favorite fireplace in the game. But I realized that it's like, I don't know, over $1,000, and I did not realize it was that expensive. So I had to swap it out for the cheaper one, but I figured if anyone played in this, they could eventually swap it out for something different. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, it's been a while since I did a starter that I kind of like decorated. I still didn't do like all the decorations for this build, but I did reach a little bit into debug, and I think it turned out really cute. I love these little free sculptures because they add environment, but they're free, so that makes my life so much better. Because then like the Sims are in there and they're happy, but you also don't have to spend a bunch of money on stuff. Side note, I think it's rude that the cheaper decorations don't add environment gains. You know, like you have to spend a lot of money to get an environment gain, and I think that's dumb. I guess I get it because like I don't know, but why would you have it if it doesn't make it prettier, you know? Like, your Sim's just going to treat it like it doesn't have any art in it. And it's like, well, I put a lot of effort into that art. I just think it's unfair. So there, that's how I feel. That's how I feel. Editing this video was kind of interesting because of how many times I went back and forth after checking the price. So with the furnishings, I hope it makes sense. I did my best, but there's a lot of like random chunks I had to cut out because I was checking the price and then removing stuff and adding stuff and whatever. So I hope that's all right. I didn't know what else to do because otherwise there would have been like 3 minutes of you watching me just swap stuff out, which is no fun. So yeah. And I don't know, this was a really fun build, honestly. I might do more of these, like where it's kind of Northwest style, but it's also not expensive. And I think I'm probably next I'm going to do something that's in a similar style, but base game only. So I think I'm gonna not use the roof supports and I'll do the whole thing with the beams, even though I'm lazy. But yeah, I think I might do that next. But I'm gonna have to use these beams. The problem with doing it like with just base game is that these beams, when you try to rotate them, they don't rotate. They just like get smaller. It's kind of weird. So there's only one beam, I think, in base game that will actually rotate without getting smaller. And that beam takes up a ton of space. Like, Sims can't walk next to it or like do stuff with it. Does that make sense? Like unlike these ones, which have a small footprint, that one has a huge footprint. So I don't know, it's kind of a struggle because then you can't put them vertical, like how these are, like the vertical trim on the corners. And you kind of like have to be really careful when you're putting them up under the roof to make sure that they don't interfere with anything. So I don't know. We'll see what I come up with. This landscaping, just like the last one, was pretty interesting because I didn't have a whole lot of space, but I think this one was a little easier than the last one. The last one I had like no space and I was stuck. So this one, at least I had a little bit of space. I did not, however, have money to put stairs in the back. So if you play with this build, you'll probably want to do that with your first paycheck. Anyway, this is this build, Brooke. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching and for hanging out with me. And please take the time to like the video, share it if you think it's worth sharing. Have a great day. Happy simming. Bye.